rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother too. You rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother too.
Not get in your lane. You know, a lot of my guy friends, you know, when I get in the space with another, you know, strong man, we stay out of each other's way or we fight. There is no like nurturing, like, oh, you know, like all that, like that nurturing, protective energy that you would have in a relationship. It only comes if I don't feel like you're trying to constantly be a competitor. Right?
Is that some women
hold on, wait, let me finish the point. Then I would love for you to respond. I will zip it up. So I will say that, you know, that when dealing with a woman, I will say this, that whole, I don't need a man. I want to do what men do. I'm just like a man. Anything a man can do, I can do. Why, if you do it, why can't I do it too? That's the type of energy that will make a lot of men say, okay, you know, you do you. I'm going to go home. You got the house. You got the kids. You got the bills. You handle that. I'll show up for sex maybe once every 2 weeks. But outside of that, I'm not here to try to nurture and protect this, because at that point, you're bringing me into a situation that feels like taxation without representation. I don't have any power, but yet I'm supposed to be an accessory to this empire that you're building. Fine. Put your penis on the table. You be the man, and I'm going to just go home. Like, that's what a lot of men do, like, because they don't want to fight you. If you are a barking dog, that's why I was messing with you, Mary, about the pit bull and the skirt thing, because I don't think that's who you are. You're a very sweet lady, but that pit bull kind of thing will make a man either fight you or go away. He's not going to want to nurture you, love you, protect you, and cuddle with you, because you don't cuddle with a pit bull. Nobody cuddles with a pit bull. Go ahead, please, Tia. Mary, I thank you for letting me get that out. Go ahead.
What I was saying is part of the processing that I'm talking about is like women don't even always understand that they're doing that. You know, they don't understand that if you grow up in a situation where you have to, you know, provide for yourself emotionally, financially, and then you're looking to partner, how do you turn that off? And that's all I want to say. Like, women don't understand, but that's why they're pushing you away. But so how do we get people to be more mindful? How do we have those conversations without insulting each other? How do we make room for error and say we still want to be committed and grow? Because I feel like this is a person who is of value, right? And who I can build with, but she has issues, he has issues. You know, I also don't want to make it seem like, go ahead.
Mary, go ahead.
Well, and that's where I feel like a man who is in his patriarchy, so to speak, he's no match for his queen. A woman will naturally, it's like big fish will always eat little fish. And if you're a woman and you can't eat little fish, then maybe that fish is too big for you. I understand that. See, my bark might sound like a bark to a little boy, but to a man that's my king, my bark don't. It sounds like eek, 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 eek. Come here, boo. Come here, boo. Let me come here. And so for me, that's why I like my men to be, you know, to embody. I need a king that's king enough for this queen. I can't help I'm a big queen. I need a big king. And so I think that's where the roles come in. You know, that's where you find someone who's compatible to you.
But I also think the challenge, Mary, is the bark that you have in one aspect of your life isn't necessarily the bark you need to have in another.
I don't have no bark.
The bark that you have because you've been trying to protect yourself. Okay, and that's all. That's the one I'm talking about.
There's no bark there.
Okay.
You know, the Black Bull of Wall Street will never say it's a bark there. There's no bark there. He laughs if I tell him other people think I bark. It's funny to him because he don't see bark in me at all. Okay. And so that's where I say when someone is your king and king enough for you, you fall into your feminine, beautiful role, because we in America, Black women, we are very feminine. We can fall into that role. It's very natural.
Ro is shaking her head. Ro and then Jeff. Okay, go ahead, Ro.
I just want to say that Black American women are having a battle and a dominance problem. We have solutions for that. Y'all need to girl down. This is too much. All of this barking and you need somebody who can handle you. People handle lions. Men need peace. Men don't want to have to compete with women who or have to hear barking in their own home. So one of the things that a man will tell you is one of the most important things that he needs is peace. And if you can't offer that, everything else comes after in almost all generations.
I agree.
So, seriously, I find myself coming to these panels and my voice gets overused. I'm talking louder than I ever do in any other aspect of my life because I have to try to be heard over everyone else here. I'm getting exhausted. My femininity is getting tapped into. It is not normal to have these abrasive. It's not normal to have these abrasive conversations and women who don't have filters on their mouths. We all should be thinking before we speak. We need logic. We need to be able to understand that maybe we were not raised to speak with logic. Maybe we're responding because a lot of us are in this position because we were not raised by men. And when you're raised by a man, and you know that you have to think before you speak. You need to speak logically. You need to be serious about not saying the wrong thing. But it is also imperative for us to not get our feelings hurt when we're discussing the truth connected to solutions. So I understand it's not connected to solutions, but if we're discussing the truth connected to solutions, then that needs to be okay.
Okay, so Jeff had, well, let me, Mary, Jeff had his hand up early. Let me go to Jeff, and then I'll go back to you, Mary. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just want to say, barking make my head hurt, so I don't know if I need a whole bunch of barking, but just to kind of just circle back, I do think that it kind of goes back to our original topic is like, can you be with a broke man? I just want to answer that really quick, and I don't think it's true. I don't know if that's true. I don't think you can bark because just to a lot of things that Mary has said and Tia has said, I think that that just especially when you're a successful woman, someone like Mary Dean or Miss T or Miss G or Noma Langham, like I think that there is a level of finance, responsibility, and structure that is needed in the household. And so to be broke, I don't know if you will receive that respect. I feel like I heard someone say during this, it's like, I need someone to kind of put me in my place. And if you come and if you're not the breadwinner or you're not the person who's coming in, getting the bread or bringing home the money or bringing home the bacon or whatever, it's kind of hard to get that respect from your woman, especially if she's making the salary that you feel like you should be making, or if she's doing something or outgoing or whatever and doing the things that you feel like you should be doing. So just kind of to circle back to our original point is, can you be broke and have a successful relationship? I think the answer is no.
Well, let me ask you all about something real quick. Who's I think Noma was next. Sharhrazard Ali, I think, said that that she said that white women go to college to find a husband, and black women go to college to prove they don't need a husband. Noma Langa, I'll start with you since you had your hand up. If you can answer that question, do you think that that's true, and if so, why? And how might we kind of address some of that in a respectful and loving way?
Well, it actually is true, and it goes back to your point, Boyce, of talking about that trust. The unfortunate thing about, I keep having to mention, I've lived in America since I was 19 years old and married an American, so I'm not entirely unaware of the American experience, okay? But the truth is that it goes back to your point about trust. Women from other cultures have the luxury and the privilege of coming from families where they've always seen men that they can trust. Maybe not always, but most of the time. So when they go to college, they're going to look for that man and then trust him. And then when you come from an environment where nobody's trustworthy, I'm number one. If I don't take care of me, it's over for me. You're not going to go into college or into anything with the same idea as somebody who has had the privilege of knowing that they can trust the men around them to take care of them. So, yeah, she's right. for the most part. I did want to add just one more thing to Rose's credit, that, Rose, she has a whole page, maybe two, maybe not a lot, because I read Rose's book. And she specifically gives you a checklist. If you're a man, this is a woman who can be a wife. And if you're a woman, this is a man who can be good partner, right? So I actually checked this list. And when I've seen really healthy families and relationships and husbands, that list, if the 100 above or whatever it is, and when you break down and a lot of dysfunction and craziness, they can't even get 5 out of those 100 things. And I think that's where we can take the conversation, is just get serious about understanding what is good and right and works. And I know I'm repeating myself. And get serious about not getting into this mode of saying I like to do it differently when what's different doesn't work. If it doesn't work, what's the point?
Okay. All right. So how about we do this? First of all, I want everybody to know we're doing our all Black intellectual chocolate panel today. And the original question was, can a woman accept a man who's broke? And we went into a little bit of everything. We went through the whole love universe because our panelists are so smart and they have such a great array of opinions. And everybody, if you're watching, if you could hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's very important. We're building Black media here because, as you guys can see, when Black people have a conversation, it's a different conversation than when white people have the conversation, or when they pick the Black people to get to have the conversations. I think it's very important for us to get our own ideas. So if you agree with that, please hit that thumbs up button. Please hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Also, don't forget that we also support Black love, Black wealth, etc. We're building a Black movie industry. Join us at blackmovienight.net. That's where we're going to watch a Black-owned film. The next film is going to be Stock Option, a Black love story by Mark Harris. That's totally free. Join us, blackmovienight.net. That's where you can register. So what I would like to do with the panelists is this. I actually have to go in a minute because believe it or not, in a moment of transparency, Alicia and I, we meet we meet a person you might call a therapist every week, but really I call that person our marriage coach. And the reason that we need the marriage coach is because I've learned that relationships don't just come down to figuring out how to get along. They come down to knowing how to fight in a productive, constructive way. So when you have conflict, you have disagreements. There's ways you handle the conflict in a productive way. There's ways you handle it in a destructive way. So we try to learn how to manage our conflict. Right. And that's a real thing. A lot of people go through that. And so I'd like every panelist, starting with Jeff Lightsey Jr., if you could maybe in 60 to 90 seconds, give kind of a final thought so that you can let us know what you learned and what we can walk away with that's going to help all of us become better people. So starting with Jeff, what say you, my friend?
So my final thought is I learned a lot just listening to the different women and the different perspectives that they have, whether it's what they've learned growing up, what they've experienced from different cultures and all these different things. So I definitely think there is a lot to take away from this. But I will say just my final thought. I think there is more than one way to find successful, to have a successful relationship. I think there's plenty of ways, like there's give and take on both perspectives. I think as a man that you should be able to rely on your woman in some instances. Obviously, you don't want, I don't think as a man you'd want them to be, the end all be all. You don't want them just to be the breadwinner or just coming in with nothing to offer. But I do think women can offer you a lot as far as not just financially, but emotionally and have a certain level of stability there. But at the end of the day, the question was, do you think women are attracted to broke men? And my answer is no. So,
okay. All right. So I'm going in the order that I see you guys on screen. So the next person, if you'd like to leave your final statement, John F. Thomas, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, there are a lot of crap options out there, especially in America. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest, completely honest, put it all on the table. That doesn't mean there aren't any good options out there. There are. But because of the crap options, we have to start making better choices be more selective of who we talk to. And also, sometimes, you have to turn it inwards, because a lot of times we critique out, but what do we really critique in and just like really evaluate on the inside? Like, maybe is it me? Is there something that I can improve on during this time being while I'm not talking to anybody? Maybe I need to listen more. Maybe I need to work on find out what I love to do. Just all these different things. And maybe I need therapy. A lot of us need therapy. So actually, it's funny that Boyce said that I'm going to be talking to a consultant later on, so we can, and it's a Black woman, because I want to talk to somebody Black to understand my Black issues. So I'm not just saying this, I'm actually practicing this in my life. So it's just, we have to all start making better choices, start being more loving towards one another, and have an open dialogue. And to go back full circle to that question, does a woman love a broke man? I think most Black women in America, no, they would not want to be with a broke man. There's a select few that will be with a broke man that has a plan. But even if that broke man has a plan, a lot of Black women in America still doesn't want to be with that broke man. So that's a real conversation we need to have. I think this should continue. It can't continue now, but there should be a part 2 to this. So hopefully we get to that later.
All right. No Malanga Mushali Moses. I'd like to hear your final thoughts. What say you, No Malanga?
I think it's important to understand that when a woman says that she doesn't want to be with a broke man, and as I said, I look at broke as something that's temporary, and oftentimes broke is the stepping stone to actual wealth and long-sustaining success and wealth. So when you talk about broke and you're a woman and you say, I don't want to be with a man who's broke, what you're really trying to do is harvest something, or what is it, seed time harvest, when you didn't sow anything. So that's why I keep emphasizing that as long as he has the potential and the ability, and has shown that he is capable of getting to that wealth, you should be able to insert yourself in that situation and you work together to get there. There are men who will never be wealthy because the seed, unfortunately, may not be the right seed. When it's not right, they don't even recognize that it's not right, and they're not going to do anything to correct it. So I think it's very important to understand broke versus poor versus always going to be broke, which is actually just poor. Okay. That's the first thing. And the last thing that I always want to add is, I think we have to be mindful not to keep having these two sides, saying I see two sides. There are no two sides. They're only, we should all be on one side. This whole panel should be on one side. And that's the side of doing what works for us collectively, coming up with solutions that don't necessarily always, a lot of what was good for me as a child, I was resisting when my parents were trying to tell it to me or condition me that way or whatever. But they were the parents and they got to condition me a certain way. And then I realized later in life. So it's not about, that culture is better or thinks they're better or this patriarchy, throwing around all these terms. It's about what works for us and what's going to make us collectively more successful. Those are the two sides. What works for them works against us. And on this panel, we should all be on the same side of what works for us and try to always focus on that.
Okay. All right. So, Ro, what is your final thought?
I think that we need to be clear that we don't need to be trying to fix broken men. However, we should understand that there is a difference between a broken man and a man who's not financially successful. If you are seeking to marry a man, he should at minimum have the ability to take care of himself. And if Black American women are trying to find suitable husbands, they're going to be looking at men who are in only this, so many men are going to be just in this category, able to take care of themselves. They can call that broke if they want to, but what I see is potential when a man is able to work hard, if he has the passion to do so. All men need to be needed. There's not one actual man on earth who doesn't need to be needed. So if you're going to try to understand men, you're going to have to dig deep and understand that taking away a man's ability to be needed is never going to work in your favor. You're going to emasculate him and he will hate you. There are so many men who have taken money from their wives to try to improve themselves. And I promise you, they hate them later. They hate them. So let's be very clear. There are steps that we can take. I have seen women from Africa, from Japan, go to America, marry Black men that Black American women say they don't want, whom are broke, and their husbands become millionaires in a few years. How do they do it? But we can't do it. The reason is because they take specific steps. They fall back. They focus on the home. They leave a situation where there is no way for the man to do anything but man up. They fall all the way back. And the man has no choice but to man up, and he does it every time. And the women have money saved, and they get it usually from their parents. But if a Black American woman doesn't have money from their parents, we almost all have jobs. We can save money, and it's called Feminine Mystique Fund. It's supposed to be yours from your father. And if your father didn't give it to you, you're supposed to create it for yourself. There are specific steps, like Norma Langa keeps saying. It's not all of this guesswork. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Please focus. Go to life school, do something with yourself. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Now I've got 2.5 minutes before I start getting barked at. I'm playing. Thank God we don't bark. It's more like a arf. But go ahead, your final thoughts.
Okay. Well, I want to start off by saying, united we stand, divided we fall. And I started out by saying that is because from the moment we started on this panel, I have to be honest with you. I have agreed with every single woman on this panel. And I think that everybody on the panel today. And united we stand, divided we fall. I think the thing that actually triggered me is the downplaying and belittling of another general culture of people. So I kind of found that offensive. As it relates to, and on that note, I'll just pass the mic because I thought that what Norma Lega said was beautiful, and I give it 2 thumbs up. I thought that what Miss G said was beautiful, and I give it 2 thumbs up. And I know Doc gotta go, so I'm gonna let it go.
All right, Estia Brown, your final thought.
Oh, I agree with all of the panelists, specifically those who said, our goal is to move forward. And we do that by looking at the tools to create healthier relationships, not just in our households, but in our communities, so that we can have communities of couples who can offer emotional, financial, and all of those levels of support so that we can build and make things better for our next generation. To answer the primary question about broke men, I think I disagree with the guys there. I think that there are a lot of women who are with broke men. And it's problematic, not because they're financially broke, but because they aren't focused and they don't share values and they aren't in a position mentally or emotionally to put them first. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with whether or not they have money, right? That has to do with, it could be a rich guy who's broke, it could be a poor guy who's broke, but we really just need to focus on aligning with people who have our values. And if we're looking to move forward in a committed relationship, make the commitment.
All right. I would like to ask everybody watching if you could do me a favor and give a digital round of applause for our all Black intellectual chocolate panel. We do these panels all the time. They're either about 8 in the morning or 8 at night, 8 p.m. Eastern. So you should join us. We have really great conversations, and just thank everybody for all the great work that they did today. And also hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell because that's really important. We're building Black media. We need your help. 2 things happening. 1, Black movie night is happening tonight. So the conversation continues tonight. We watched the movie Stock Option by Mark Harris, but there are other movies. There are other great Black movies by Black filmmakers. We do Black movie night all the time, so you should definitely join us. The second thing is this weekend, if you're interested in real estate, we're doing the Black Real Estate Weekend. There's the URL right there. Feel free to join us if you have an interest in going deeper into real estate. So let me give a quick parting thought on this. and I'll just explain it with a story. I remember when I was 18 years old, and I was a terrible student in high school. My life was kind of a wreck. I had nowhere to live. I had three options. I could go to the military, I could go to college, or I could keep working at Taco Bell. Even though I wasn't college material, I went to college anyway. And the reason I went to college was for one reason. And the one reason was I didn't want to be broke. I did not want to be poor. I did not want to struggle financially. And why I felt that way for a couple of reasons. One, because I had a daughter. My girlfriend, we discovered this thing that this secret thing that we discovered alone. No one else knew about this, called sex. And so when we discovered this thing, we found out there's another side to sex called pregnancy. So I was 18 years old with a newborn baby, without a pot to pee in. I mean, I had no money, no nothing, no anything. So my number one goal, my only obsession at that point was to not be broke. They said, "What do you want to major in?" I said, "Well, what's finance?" They said, "Finance is money." I said, "Okay, I want to major in that because I don't want to be broke." And why I felt that way? Because of my daughter. Number one, I did not want to feel the disappointment that comes with not being able to take care of your child. Number two, I had a father. I had something a lot of our kids don't have, which is a dad. And my father, just through example, has shown me that a man can't. It's hard for him to really be a man if he can't show up with the ability to provide and protect. And a big part of that in a struggling economic community, a community that struggles economically like ours, is the ability to provide money, put money on the table, put food on the table, right? So I will just say that there's a reason why men chase after that. This is the reason goes back tens of thousands of years. There's a reason why women are attracted to that. It goes back tens of thousands of years. I don't think we're going to ever change that programming. The only time women don't care about money that I've seen is when they have so much money that money doesn't matter anymore. Then they start chasing other things, right? So I would just say my thought is that you want to think about the financial side of the relationship. Be honest with yourself about that. Find a partner who's equally yoked, who will grow with you, who will also understand what you might be going through. And also, if you have a man that's prepared to lead and has his stuff together, support that, right? And also, there's still space for women to roar and do whatever they want to do. But I think that we have to get out of each other's way to a certain extent in order for our families to make it. So that's my 2 cents on the issue. Go get your money, go be successful, go be free, go be strong, and that will make you more attractive. So thank you very much to the panelists. I will be reaching out to all of you very soon, and let me get out of here because I hear a little arf in the other room. So take care, everybody. Love you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.